Like, what is happening here? How is he's handsome now? He's a catch? He ain't no catch. What? Are you, what? Right? But that's, it was just, it blew my mind. And I remember noticing how financial insecurity just was such a trigger for so many people. I mean, I talked to one lady, and she gave me, we did a really long conversation, and she said, I was saving, she hated, was mad at her husband. I felt sorry for this poor guy. And she said, I was saving money for my daughters to go to college. And every day I would put money in a little bucket below the bed, and I was saving consistently, and I didn't know that this mother ucker was going behind me and pulling money out as I was putting it in so that he could buy lunch every day. And she said, and I found out that, she said, I said to him, you literally ate and shit out our daughter's future. And it was crazy to hear it, because I was like, wow, like he'd have been better off if he cheated. Like if he'd had a side chick, he wouldn't have got that same venom that he got by messing up the family money. And this was a recurring theme. I saw this consistently. And that's when I started digging into this topic more deeply with my wife, who's a therapist. And we've really dug into things like financial trauma. Like, for example, let's raise it. How many of you grew up maybe poor? Like really poor, like, mayonnaise sandwiches with no mayonnaise, stuff like that. Okay. And how many of y'all felt like it really sucked? Right, okay. How many of you have seen bad things happen to people that you care about because of money? Somebody get killed over money, sent to prison over money, selling dope over money. A lot of these things are traumatic, and we don't even know the impact of that trauma. And so when my wife got one of the certifications, by the way, my wife is like a machine. She literally is the person that I'm not kidding. Let me explain why. I'm not just saying it because she's my wife. She started the year by telling me she wanted to read 22 books. She finished her 22nd book a month ago. and now so I don't know where she gets it. She don't get it from me, because I read a book last year or something. And so one of the things that she did was she got this certification in trauma. She became a certified clinical trauma professional. And so when I hear new stuff, I run back to y'all and I'm like, oh, let me tell y'all what I learned. And I'm telling you, you gotta dig into that trauma so you can work through that, so that you can make better decisions, because trauma just affects you in ways you can't even imagine. In fact, people that are high on the trauma scale actually die sooner than people who are not high on the trauma scale. So financial trauma is real. The emotional trauma you experience is real. Relationship trauma, living through the crack era, that trauma is very real. We saw our loved ones getting hooked on drugs, getting sent to prison for drugs, getting killed over drugs, and then we're the survivors, but it almost seems like we have the most pain being the survivor. So ultimately, you gotta dig into that trauma. So ultimately right now, what you're seeing, and this is where part of your economic opportunity lies if you can move past some of that, is you're seeing a lot of people reacting to the financial trauma of watching their portfolio values drop. They bought this stock, they felt rich because they had $12,000 worth of stock in their portfolio. They've watched that drop to $7,000, and now they're feeling what economists call the wealth effect. They're feeling like, oh my God, I'm not as wealthy as I was before, and then that fear kicks in, and then you start thinking, okay, I got to get away from this stock market. This is terrible.